I have a kind of complicated relationship with the Despicable Me franchise. While I'm not the biggest fan of the recent films of this franchise, I have to admit that the second Despicable Me movie was still okay, and its international dubs are actually pretty engaging. Today we'll explore French, Spanish, Mexican, English, Russian, Arabic, and other dubs. Let's get started. One of the most memorable moments from the second movie was undoubtedly the Minions' hilarious song about underwear. Most dubs translated it properly, but some localizers took a more creative approach. For instance, in the French version, the Minions sing about toes instead, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it's kind of a censorship? Also, in the Spanish dub, they sing an non-existent word from the Minions language, and this word was actually used in the first movie. This word likely translates to toy in Minionese. Similarly, the Bulgarian dub features another made-up word in this scene. Now, the Russian dub has plenty of funny changes. For example, there was a scene where Gru says something rather unexpected.
So thanks, but no thanks.
You may wonder why they adapted it like this. Well, this line has a rhyme in Russian, so it sounds even funnier. And as far as I know, Russian comedians invented this phrase in the 90s, and people loved it. Let's move on. Towards the end of the movie, there's a scene where the Minions are trying to open a gate. As usual, they speak their Minions language, but it sounds remarkably Russian even though it happens in the American version. The words they utter actually exist in the Russian language. I think it's just a coincidence, but it's a hilarious one nonetheless, especially since it perfectly fits what Minions are doing in this scene. Now, this movie came out in 2013. If you remember, the Harlem Shake meme was pretty viral back then, and in the Mexican version, there was a scene where they replaced the word cramping with Harlem Shake.
Una combinación de Jiu-Jitsu, Krav Maga, Lucha Teca, y Harlem Shake.
And it's a combination of a Jiu-Jitsu, Krav Maga, Aztec warfare, and cramping.
The Armenian dub made a bizarre mistake. In the middle of the movie, there's a scene where one of the Minions farts, but in the Armenian version, they changed it in a way that makes it nonsensical, and so the Minion doesn't fart in this dub. Take a look.
The 21 fart con salute. I counted 22.
Քսանչորս գազիկներով ողջույն։
Ես 22 հաշվեցի։
Now, there's also a strange goof in the Russian version. Near the end of the film, Gru asks Agnes to go easy on the churros. However, in the Russian dub, he asks her to go easy on the beans. The problem is that Agnes is holding churros in her hands, not beans, which makes the scene nonsensical in Russian.
Agnes, easy on the churros. Agnes, не налегай на бобы.
Sometimes it's hard to translate some movie adaptations because of the complicated wordplay and other things. And you know, making these videos is a lot of work in general. You must know many languages and possess good management skills to manage this whole thing. And to improve all these skills, that's where Skillshare comes in. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives. There are thousands of classes led by industry experts on almost any topic. If you want to learn a language, you can find it on Skillshare. If you are thinking of learning filming or animation, it's also there. Me personally, I'm craving to improve my Spanish and Japanese. I want to take Peter Hanley's Spanish and Andy Watabe's Japanese classes. I feel like these will help me fill in the language gaps I need. Also, it'd be exciting for you if I talked more about these languages in my videos, because these dubs usually have interesting adaptations. This fall I plan to start doing it using Skillshare to hone my skills. Also, recently they added 3 new excellent class topics: creative careers, creative inspiration, and AI and innovation. These are some of the most perspective-oriented fields you can imagine. So if you want to invest in your future, it's a good time to start now. The first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Now let's get back to Despicable Me 2. In some dubs, the characters' names were changed. For example, Gru's friend is called Jillian in the original, but in the Czech version, she's named Živian. This is quite odd since the name sounds more French than Czech.
Hello, Jillian.
Ahoy, Jillian.
Speaking you know which. As I mentioned in my video about the first movie, Gru somehow has a French accent in the Ukrainian version, and they kept it in the second movie as well.
I'm sorry, I did not see you there.
Pardon-moi, я тебе тут не помітив.
Similarly, for some reason, the Russian and Ukrainian versions added Spanish words that weren't in the original.
Have a good day. Come by if you get a chance, okay?
Счастливо. Заходите к нам на буррито. Пока.
I was just going to get a cookie. Я иду їсти гаєта.
The Ukrainian version also featured an interesting wordplay listing various Ukrainian names. In the original, this part is completely different. And to be honest, Ukrainians often add some Ukrainian stuff to their dubs. Look at this.
My friend Natalie is recently single.
No, get off the limb right now. No limb.
Та моя подруга Наталі щойно розлучилася і...
No, ніяких надій. І Марин, і Олен.
It may sound like the adaptation doesn't have any meaning, but it does make sense in Ukrainian. Now, the Russian version has another engaging change. Take a look.
Get your mitts off of me. I am a legitimate businessman. Уберите свои лапы! Я легальный иммигрант.
The issue of illegal immigration is relevant in both the US and Russia, so this line felt quite fitting in this context. In one scene, Lucy calls the minions munchkins in the original. However, in the Russian version, she refers to them as hobbits.
Gru, call one of your munchkins! Gru, зови своих хоббитов!
In the Arabic version, she calls them Gru's children.
Gru, نادي أحد أطفالك!
And here are a few more intriguing adaptations of this moment. Another odd change was in the Ukrainian version. In the original, Lucy talks about a moose tranquilizer, and immediately after, the Gru's date makes a sound that a moose would make. However, in the Ukrainian version, she says elephant instead of moose, but the moose sound remains. It's pretty strange why they did it this way.
It's like she's been shot with a mild moose tranquilizer.
Наче їй вкололи дозу слонячого транквілізатора.
There was another interesting scene where different dubs replaced the names of various characters. First, take a look at this moment in the original.
Bruce Willis.
No. Humpty Dumpty. Ooh, Gollum.
In the Turkish version, Humpty Dumpty was replaced with Caliglan, a character from Turkish folktales.
Bruce Willis mi?
Hayır. Keloğlan. Ooh, Gollum.
In the Armenian version, Humpty Dumpty became Kolobok, a character from an Eastern European fairy tale about a bread-like being. It's actually a great story. I often read and listened to it as a child.
Bruce Willis'in.
Watch. Kandelik bakonik. Oh, Gollum'in.
Another quite interesting translation was in the Armenian version. In the original, the characters enter a shop called Bake My Day. In the Armenian dub, this shop is called Let's Cook Together. This is a reference to a cooking show aired on the Armenian channel that dubbed Despicable Me 2.
Bake my day.
Պատրաստենք միասին.
Also, the French dub translated it pretty well. The shop is called Bon Fourne, which translates to good baking, but also sounds like the well-known French greeting, Bonjourne.
Bon Fourne.
You probably remember the character named Silas Ramsbottom. In the original, Gru mispronounces his name as Sheepsbot. In the Ukrainian version, they changed it to Pigsbot.
Good day, Mr. Sheepspot.
Adieu, Monsieur Swinozat.
In the Turkish, he was simply called a donkey.
İyi günler Katır Bey.
And in French, he's first called Softbottom and then Hardbottom. Quite amusing.
Silas de la Molfesse.
Au revoir, Monsieur de la Festu.
There was a scene when El Macho showed off his hairy chest. This scene was interestingly adapted in the Russian and Ukrainian dubs. Take a look.
Look away.
At the very beginning of the movie, we see Russian characters in the original. To non-Russian speakers, it might seem like everything is fine, but in fact, these characters speak with a heavy accent. This often happens in American films because the creators don't hire native Russian speakers to voice the characters. The international versions of Despicable Me 2 turned out to be quite strange in many ways, although there are plenty of high-quality changes as well. Also guys, if you know about any interesting changes from dubs of Despicable Me 2, let me know in the comments. See ya!